cigarette down here, mate. You see a dentist smoking, I'm going to be screwed.
What's going on up there, man? Someone's getting raped?
No, this is the Thriller. The Thriller. Is that it? The Halloween edition of the Apollo Corner. Surprise, surprise, trick or treat. It's daytime, not nighttime. Got ya. Welcome, Apollo Nuts and would-be Apollo Nuts, to the Apollo Corner. My name is Richard, broadcasting daytime, 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time from the beautiful island of Barbados. And
guys,
yes, yeah, go ahead.
I gotta run, man. I'm in a meeting.
That was Gil. It was a pleasure to see you. Get on.
Next time, okay?
Next time.
Bye-bye.
See how off the cuff we are? No script. No CNN, studio thing. It's off the cuff. With me tonight.
It's for the birds.
Yes, exactly. I kept on saying tonight. With me this afternoon. Wait a minute. With me this morning, we have with us our special co-host. We all know him as the one and only Atlas. Atlas, give a hello and a shout to our audience.
Hello, everybody.
Okay. Atlas having a little bit of volume problems. If you could just try to adjust that, D, maybe you could do that off the scenes or whatever. And with me I keep on saying tonight, I'm so it's like automatic pilot here. With me this morning is our very special guest, Mr. Stephen Stryker. How you doing this morning?
Doing well, sir. Doing well.
Yeah. Did you have any sleep? Did you stay up last night to watch the Fox Business segment? Or
you betcha. I was up well after that too, so couldn't sleep. It was so exciting.
It's because
yesterday was crazy.
It's because Stryker, you see, he has a little baby that I'm going to bet you that your wife has bottles so you can feed the baby instead of having to worry about boobies, because she'll say, no, it's not fair. I have to get up with my boobie. Here's the bottle. You do it so she can get some sleep. I'll bet you that's the case.
Yeah, unfortunately, she doesn't. So she is up all night with the baby. So.
Oh, well, what can I tell you?
I, on the other hand, am well rested.
Yeah. I'm gonna give you one. Yeah, right. Anyways, we're on, especially this morning. I don't know how many people do we got on the watching right now. I don't even see, because I'm not on the I'm on the other screen that's not on the YouTube. But anyways, we've had a lot of news.
I think Atlas dropped out, but
okay, Atlas dropped out. It's just me and you right now. Well, Atlas is there. I just don't hear him. Atlas, can you say hello? Hello, and see if your microphone working.
Can you hear me now?
All right,
yeah,
we can hear you. You might have to talk kind of loud, and I hope your neighbors won't mind, so that we can offset the lack of the weakness of the microphone.
Well, you better get used to it, because I'll be speaking low volume in the bathroom when I work.
I know, and I think you're working more in the washroom in the restaurant than you are at the tables. But we'll leave that to another day. Listen, we've had some great news as almost like a double whammy back to back, as it were. Perhaps I think I should let Stryker lead the way as to the two pieces of information that we got, and we can elaborate on it further. For those of you who have been asleep at the wheel and haven't heard anything, or have been crawling from under a rock, Stryker could update y'all. Go ahead, Stephen.
Yeah, we had a crazy day yesterday and just a lot of awesome announcements. We announced the Fox Business episode, which aired last night around 11. Well, it was around 12:30 my time here in Central Time, and that went live on Fox Business. Well, it wasn't live, but it did finally sneak up on us. We really were really surprised to see that they produced that so soon, and at the same time, we were just overwhelmed that they got that rolling here as quick as they did. So Steve was on along with some other big crypto guys, and that was just incredible to watch. We also announced our mass adoption plan too, and that was quite a ride. So, if you missed it, you'll definitely have to check out the chat and catch up on everything that happened.
Well, Fox News did it real quickly because they're the antithesis of exchanges who do things real slowly. So there lies the difference. There lies the difference. Yes, the other piece of news, aside from the mass adoption, which we'll elaborate on further, is the Paxos Coin, which, for many of you who don't know yet, Tether, which has been like the benchmark for, shall we say, normalizing the US dollar to pairing with various coins on the exchanges, it's undergoing somewhat of a crisis, not to mention the fact that there's some instability going on behind the scenes with regard to Tether. Paxos, on the other hand, is actually regulated, pegged one-to-one to the USD, and I don't know a lot more about it. Stryker, you might be able to elaborate further. What exactly is the deal with Paxos that makes it such a huge advantage to Tether, not to mention why it's exciting as to be a partner with Apollo?
Well, it's I think it's the only truly stable coin that's regulated in the United States. I think it's the only one actually regulated in state of New York as well, which has some of the highest standards as far as that goes. So
excellent.
It's based on a trust, and so there's actually a one-to-one exchange there. Tether can sometimes fluctuate because I think the supply changes a little bit and affects the price, but I don't think Paxos has that issue. I think they are a one-to-one stable coin, and one of the best ones out there. So,
all right. Well, let me play not devil's advocate. Let me play the person who has never studied this stuff in my life. I'm totally dumb. I'm very ignorant. I don't know anything. When you talk about trust, the coin, there's trust with the coin. What exactly does that mean? Can you explain that possibly?
No, it's like it's funded with a trust. It's backed by funds that are held in a trust. So it's not a company that regulates that. As far as I don't really know as far as how trusts are structured or anything like that. But it's not. Okay. It's not like a coin like Tether is. It's actually backed with U.S. dollars.
Okay, so when they boast that you could exchange your fiat to have your coins trading with Paxos and then back to fiat, I'm not sure of how that dynamic operates. So in other words, I have a pairing with Paxos and APL, for example, and then I've accumulated X amount of APL. How does that work with the Paxos to get your money literally as fiat back out, or you're not quite sure yourself on that dynamic?
No, they'll be listed on our DEX, our decentralized exchange, within the wallet. So you could trade for Paxos and then take that and exchange exchange Paxos for US dollars.
Okay, so the Paxos can be exchanged for fiat dollars, again, right within the wallet.
Yes, I think so.
Because if it is, my question would then become, how does the fiat come from the wallet to the individual?
No,
I just had trouble wrapping my head around it.
The Paxos will be on the wallet, and then what you do with the Paxos, that you have to get an account with them in order to withdraw straight to dollars.
Ah, so there's another stage that's above and beyond that interchange where you can enable your ability to get the little physical dollars then.
Yeah, you can check out how Paxos works just by going to the website, and they have all the details on how you can purchase it.
Okay. Now, just for our audience, I don't think you realize how huge it is that we are going to have a decentralized exchange right within our wallet. And it explains why Stevie said when people ask him, well, are you going to have a fiat pairing? And his answer was, well, we never had intentions of it because of this situation. And the fact that you could literally not have to move, not have to bother with IDAX or with Binance or with Coinbase or with any of the exchanges is absolutely brilliant. And I don't think I've talked to one person who doesn't say, well, then I'm just going to stay home and work within the wallet. Atlas, and you have any, is Atlas still there or is he gone? Atlas, you there? Is Atlas there?
Looks like he dipped out.
He dipped out. It's just me and you, my brother. We're going to have to duke this out together. So I don't know about you, Striker, but I haven't seen one shy, negative, I don't know, with regard to dealing with exchange rate within the wallet. And I would certainly think that the fees would be really reasonable, don't you think?
Within our wallet?
Yes, within our wallet.
I don't think there will be a fee other than just the forge fee within the wallet for the blockchain. So,
okay, so but that in itself means a lot. Doesn't that significant? That's absolutely significant in itself, does it not?
Huge. That's huge. Yeah, that's one of the huge downsides to dealing with the exchanges is some of them have pretty crazy fees. Like HitBTC for one is known for just having fees that aren't even worth you sending your coins there. They just get stuck because the fees are higher than the value of the coins. So
well, there's justification to the fact that we didn't accept the listing for HitBTC, and you've just explained one of the reasons of many reasons why. But the fact that the exchange will have, here's the thing, right? If it comes to volume with regard to Apollo, there's not going to be an exchange out there that's going to beat the volume of Apollo than the very own decentralized exchange within our own wallet. How can you? Everyone's holding it there. Yeah, by definition, it'll be the highest volume if there are going to be any exchanging or any trading with it.
I'm not following you there, but I think you might be onto something pretty profound.
Well, I guess what I'm trying to say is that because everyone's holding their Apollo in their wallet, and a lot of people will be wanting to trade, there won't be any more Apollo in one area than the Apollo decentralized exchange, because that's where everyone has their wallets.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm tracking with you.
There you go. I mean, I don't know about the other coins. That's yet to be seen. And it depends on how smoothly the exchange operates and so on. But then again, we're talking about something that's not going to be introduced till at least the first quarter of 2019, correct?
Well, we're hoping that Apollo becomes an actual currency that is, that's actually used for paying for things. That someone would just use Apollo and not have to keep, drawing it out, and that it becomes truly mass adopted and gets to the point where, okay, how do I get Apollo so I can pay for this because I want it? So, that's a question we're hoping to hear more and more.
Yes, which is precisely the thing about the second announcement, which was kind of tied with the first announcement, which was the mass adoption plan to have these ATM-like machines or the like being distributed to major cities around the world. Now, from what I understand, Stryker, they already have a few of these machines on the go or operational in Africa. Is that correct?
I'm not sure about the machines, but they have a actual storefront where you can go in and sit down and exchange, you know, pay money and buy Apollo in a physical
Oh,
location. And that's what the main part is. There'll also be the option for each one of these storefronts to have an Apollo ATM too, if they want to, or any location really. They wouldn't have to be a storefront. Just any business owner could purchase an ATM and set it up. So we're actually hoping to have physical locations as well, though, and we already do have some in Africa that we've started. So we had a picture of one with the announcement yesterday, and you can find that in the chat. So one of our members of our community actually runs this location. So.
all right. So which part of Africa, by the way, are you referring to that it's been in its shall we say beta testing stages, as it were?
It's in South Africa. It's run by Willie.
Oh yeah, Willie. Yes, I see him
Yeah.
on the chat room all the time.
Yeah, Willie SA.
Willie SA, and so Willie, South Africa. Willie, I don't know if Willie's around. I don't know what the time zone difference is. Well, God, it would be. It'd just be a few hours ahead. Is there anything else you'd like to listen? We didn't expect that it would just be Stryker and I. Not that I don't like Stryker or anything. I love him, but we only have me. I'm not accustomed to just having one guest and no co-host. This is all kind of new territory to me, folks. I'm gonna have to take off my stupid shades here so I can see, because I want people in the chat room to throw out any questions that you may have for myself or for the real expert, Stryker.
You're a show of in and of yourself, Richard.
Well, that's what my patients tell me, but usually they tell me that before I do the treatment. So, in fact, I had to tell Dean this morning that I had to do an extraction, a surgical extraction, about 7 o'clock in the morning. I normally don't work Wednesday mornings, but I had to get out of bed and do this as a special favor for an actual friend of mine. So I wasn't sure if I could even make it back in time, but here I am, and here we are. So let me see what's going on here. We got 24 people watching. Anthony Brooks, may I swear I knew Apollo would try to replace banks. Yes. You see, the whole idea, I'm going to talk about this a little bit, Stryker. The banking system, as we know it today, will not exist in 4, 5, 6, 7 years from now. Maybe later, maybe earlier, give or take a few, for a number of reasons. Number one, the system is based on fiat of various countries controlled by central banks. The king of the hill, the Federal Reserve. And without going down a rabbit hole and introducing a whole set of facts which y'all may not even be aware of, that system is not feasible to last, because knock, knock, who's there? There's a lot of criminals and a lot of corruption involved with that system. And it goes back. It can go back as long as you want to go back, but it goes back centuries and so on. But it just became a whole lot worse during the last 50, 100 years. That system is gonna be antiquated. And that fiat money has to be replaced with another system. The people that are traditionalists when it comes to investments, they'll say all the bad things they want about cryptocurrency, that it's a bubble, that it meant it's based on nothing, and blah, blah. Because in reality, It's the opposite what they truly believe, and they're quite scared. They're quite nervous that their cozy little system of investment based on fiat is soon going to be a thing of the past, which is why anyone who's very wise would expand and diversify a portfolio consisting a lot in crypto as well as the usual hedges, which of course is gold and silver bullion. I don't even have gold and silver bullion. I just haven't had a chance to do something like that. But I've had a great opportunity to start diversifying my portfolio in crypto, with Apollo being a number one on my list of stashes. Do you have anything further to contribute on that point about the central banks, about the banking system, about fiat in general, Striker, with what I just talked about?
I think just the world in general has that same feeling. It's not just something we're feeling here in the U.S. It's just, I think, across the board. We've seen some crazy financial things happen in the last few years, and money's moving. There's money's moving to different countries that we haven't really seen on the world stage before, and the whole financial system is really fragile. It can be moved with just a few clicks of a button. You can really mess a country over, I think. So I think people are kind of starting to realize that whoever holds the keys to that system can manipulate things pretty easily, and there's not a lot of recourse like we saw in 2008. And I think people are just sick and tired of that. So I think really crypto is going to replace a lot of the way things are, and improve upon a lot of the way things are, and provide an added layer of security. It puts people back in control of their money. And
Yeah.
I think it's a no-brainer. I don't see how you can look at all those facts and say, well, I don't really want that. I want to stay with the way things are. So.
Well, the interesting thing about what you said with regard to referring to 2008, which we all know was the beginning of the quote-unquote Great Recession, which was initiated by the subprime housing crisis, and then bubbled forward to what it became, which was a real mess. Guess what the government did in order to, smooth the edges of the banks and make everyone less nervous? They did what was called quantitative easing. That's a polite way of saying they printed a whole shitload of money. That's what they did. And the money then went to the banks, and then we're all supposed to believe that then all the problems that they had with whatever would be solved. But it didn't solve anything. It just made things worse. And it inflated things more. And this quantitative easing business, quite frankly, is a joke. And all it does is enrich the people that are trying to fool us. Now, cryptocurrencies have the distinct advantage, big time. And it's in one word: finite. It's finite. Okay? If we're talking about mining coins, well, fine, but they're going to be up to a certain level, which they've established in their white papers as the final supply or the circulating supply. But by and large, the volumes are finite. So no crook and no corrupt criminal is going to start printing out more Apollo in order to sort of offset some of their shortcomings for whatever reasons. It ain't happening. Okay? And this is why that the fiat system is going to slowly die, and which is why the smart money, wherever money is left, is going to shift into the blockchain, aside, of course, from the silver and gold. This is where we're heading. There's no doubt in my mind. Anyone who tells you otherwise, they got an agenda, and I don't even want to know what that agenda is. So it's a slow process. It's a long process. It's not going to be overnight. It's not going to be not for the next few months, but for the next few years, it is most definitely going to happen. And if you think that bull run back in December, January, that came before was big, you have ain't seen nothing yet when it becomes the one and only vehicle for trade and for commerce and for everything will be the blockchain.
Absolutely.
I know. I stole your thunder. I'm sorry. Striker.
Well, you hit the nail on the head with the printing of more, and that's really what's devaluing our currency. You look at what it was worth back in the 50s, 40s, 30s, versus now, it's only gone down. So that's the opposite with crypto. I mean, it can start pretty low, but it really only goes up after that. So.
You see, what I was trying to say is what's happening today is almost identical to what happened in 2008 because the housing market has dropped considerably in price. The feds are raising interest rates. They're saying to kind of normalize what has become an exuberated marketplace. And I know that President Trump has said, well, why are you raising rates when things are going so well? Setting the stage for putting the blame on the feds for trying to disrupt what was so far a system that was very well, smooth oiled machine. Why disturb the apple cart? Why fix what isn't broken? But they're trying to disrupt that. And it's not a good thing. There's no need for interest rate hikes because then that lowers the prices of housing more because people can afford less and have less money in their pocketbook. It's just common sense. So who knows where this is heading, but I have a feeling that the markets, I'm sure you've seen lots of videos, Striker, all over the place about the impending bust of the markets big time. You have, haven't you? I've seen a few. I've seen a number of them. And I don't doubt that's going to happen. So what's going to happen when the markets go bust? What are the investors going to do? They're going to find a place where there is a hedge, where there's comfort. And what better place than a finite supply of cryptocurrency? What better place than one of the better or the best performing coins that show promise and have use and have utility? Which is why eventually Apollo will catch. It's very early in the stage, 3.5 months in the exchanges is infantile. But we're all the steps are being taken in the right way by you and Stevie and Master Zoman and all the others that are cooperating and trying to put forth the adoption that we need for Apollo. And I know we're all getting a little bit frustrated because the movement is what? Because look, it's a bear market in the cryptos. So the fact that we're hanging in there like we are in a crappy market in the cryptos is testimony in itself of the strength and the support that there is with Apollo. Would you agree, Striker?
Yeah. Well, ultimately, our goal isn't to just make a great investment platform. That's something we all want, but we want to create the ultimate currency. We want to create something that actually people use, that's useful, and that's the best option out there. And then as people realize that and have that aha moment, they choose to put their money in and have that be the vehicle that they use to transfer and transact and conduct their daily business of their lives. And that's what I think McAfee has touched on a few times too, is that crypto is not going to take off as long as people are still waiting for, it to go to the moon and all that, and just to get rich quick. Crypto's waiting for those ideas to come across that replace the current ones and that are more useful and a better way of doing things, more transparent, more secure, faster, and easy for the average person, the average user, accessible to get into. That's what we need to happen. And so our goal isn't just to move the price. That's what we want. But our goal is to continue developing the best currency option out there and create something that's useful, life-changing, that's going to practically serve all of the needs that currency should have been designed to do, and avoid the shortcomings that and the pitfalls that others have found along the way. Because crypto's not perfect. I mean, there is problems with it, and we want to eliminate as many of those as possible and design something that's an improvement on previous generations. So, welcome, Colin.
Finally made it. Colin, it's the blockchain Braveheart, Colin Stone, with the daily dose, and he's dosed himself right on the screen here. Welcome aboard, Colin.
We are honored to have you, brother.
I got my time zone slightly confused. I think it's we've just changed the clocks here in Scotland, so I'm now currently let's see what time are we at. It's just gone 3:30 here.
All right, but holiday in
Scotland, Scottish Islands, so
we're changing clocks here too pretty soon, Colin. So no worries.
Okay, well, Colin. Speaking of clocks, you're going to make me a promise that after 3 minutes, you're not going to get up and leave the set and going home, because we're so accustomed to your 3-minute doses.
No, I'll make sure I stick around for longer than 3 minutes. I mean, it's usually we go for the kind of 2.5, 3 minutes. Keep it nice and bite sized so people can stick around and not get too bored too easily. So yeah, that's what we go for. It's
a syringe of information. Is what I would say.
That's what we like. That's how we like to do it. A syringe of information.
So listen, Colin, I want to ask you this because you do an absolutely amazing, polished, slick job in your presentation. You've got to have some major experience and background in this field, because I'm just a dentist. I jerk out teeth. So like I don't even come close to you. So explain this background that's got to explain that.
Well, very interesting you say that, actually, because there may well be a daily mission update coming in the next few days, which does indeed tell you a bit more about me, because I've been spending weeks and weeks introducing other members of the team, Stephen for one, and I think Gennady, and we had a whole host, Alessandro, Alex, everybody really. Besides,
wait a minute, is this the Me Too movement? Are we talking about the Me Too movement? I hope not.
No, I certainly hope not. But no, video it should be either. I think it probably will be this week, actually. Maybe tomorrow, maybe today. I'm not entirely sure. It will actually tell you a bit more about me. So that will be the more in-depth version. But in terms of the experience I have, yeah, in terms of probably a highlight, what's the main thing I'd say? I used to read the breakfast television news for the entire country. Which was
Good morning, Vietnam.
not so much Vietnam. Good morning, Scotland, for all of 2 or 3 minutes. Awesome. And that was a great experience, to be honest. But I've done bits here and there and everywhere, really. London, lots of radio stations and a couple of TV channels in Scotland. And only just in the last couple of months have I actually kind of taken a step back from the kind of the traditional media, and I've started kind of looking, as for one, to focus full time on Apollo.
The traditional stuffy media is what you should say.
Indeed. No, it's an interesting time, certainly in Scotland. I'm not entirely sure about the rest of the world, but these kind of TV channels, the one I used to work for, Scottish Television, and the BBC, which is the British Broadcasting Corporation, are kind of looked upon now as slightly as kind of dinosaurs in the kind of modern age. And so it very much is a chance for people to invest and look into other kind of forms of media, and certainly these kind of platforms. This one in particular is a great one to go for.
Well, BBC is like CNN with a British accent. That's basically it. But we'll leave that one be. And I'm glad you came, because I heard you had some trouble with a ferry boat coming aboard. So I'm glad you didn't go into the sea and drown yourself, and you made it alive and well.
I mean, if any of you or any of the viewers have ever been to Scotland, you can attest to the fact that it is a beautiful country, but very unpredictable in terms of the weather. So yeah, I was in the island of Lewis and was stuck essentially because the ferries were cancelled because it was so windy. But thankfully made it back in the early hours of this morning after essentially a 36-hour delay. But we're fine. We've made it back.
Oh my goodness! So they had a small craft warning because the seas were rough because of the winds, obviously.
Oh, it's not a small craft. This is a giant thing, and it still couldn't sail.
But when I think of Scotland, Colin, I think of golf and I think of curling. But that's
Absolutely.
a Canadian. That's a Canadian in me, right? So there you go.
Yeah, well, I mean, curling and golf in particular is big here. But I think, I mean, if you again, if you know anything of Scotland, the main sport still is soccer or football, as we like to call it. Even though the
Yes.
national team here is just the worst, they're absolutely tired. But, we do love trying, and that's probably what we're best at: trying and failing.
And introducing the soccer matches with bagpipes.
Yeah, they still do that every single international game. They have a full kind of lineup of bagpipes playing the national anthem, and everybody's very patriotic when it comes to Flower of Scotland. I will not sing that for you just now. Yeah, sadly, it's the one thing I don't actually do. I can't play the bagpipes. I can't do it. Never really tried.
Well,
but
that's okay.
We won't hold that against you.
But we're gonna have Stryker have some bagpipes on the studio one day, see if he can do it.
Oh, that would be awful. That would just be we would lose everybody.
Oh, hold on.
Of your hat, by the way, Stephen.
Oh, thank you. Thanks.
I think there is some Apollo merch headed my way, but
it should be headed toward you.
Scotland, yeah.
So, Colin, tell me how you even discovered Apollo, or was you always in cryptos, and then that came as a natural consequence?
So it'd been, yeah, you're right. I had kind of an interest in it. I mean, as I say, I'd been in traditional media in Scotland for close to 8-9 years, and was kind of looking for something else. And one of my old colleagues had recommended trying to find a niche for yourself, whether that be business or I don't know, sports or whatever. And for me, certainly the financial side of business was something that appealed to me. So crypto was definitely something that I thought, maybe if I do a bit of reading about this, get my profile out there, then that will kind of help me, get my foot in the door in a way. And it was actually Steve McCullough who reached out to me and asked if I would be interested in starting up something. So you'll have to ask him, but that was certainly how it started. He was the first contact, and it's been great since day one, to be honest.
So how did you guys even meet in the first place then?
I think it was Skype of all things. Maybe a quick kind of Google profile here or there, but no, it's one of these ones where I had so many kind of ideas for things. I was like, maybe I should do my own show and my own YouTube channel, but then I don't have even close to the amount of subscribers that other people do. Or I thought, oh, maybe I could start something in Scotland. I think there's maybe one Scottish cryptocurrency firm, but even then it was so small, it just wasn't really worth the effort. And it just happened to be a kind of a happy coincidence that Steve actually just reached out to me, and yeah, essentially just took off. We had one Skype call. I think he was walking down the street somewhere in maybe it was Texas or California. I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, we kind of took it from there. I shot a pilot episode, and I think the pilot they actually used. This is a funny story. In the pilot episode, I called myself Blockchain Braveheart just as a joke, just as a look at me getting into the spirit of things. It was like, that's a great nickname, Blockchain Braveheart it is, and it's stuck ever since.
Yeah, that was.
I think it's brilliant. I think it's brilliant, honestly.
Yeah,
it's very apropos. It's Scotland. It's your Braveheart. It's Scotland.
And I think
he would not ever been there in life.
Colin, if I'm not correct, we have quite a episode recorded for today, right? Where we'll get.
Oh yes, I forgot about this. Oh man. Oh, don't we have a surprise for you today?
Yeah.
Just wait, because of course today is Halloween, and also this is another fact I'm revealing on this show. Today's also my birthday. Halloween is my birthday.
Oh,
wow. Hey, there you go.
You look great for 65. It's fantastic.
But I must say, yes, if you're watching, in fact, get yourself to the Apollo YouTube page. Just keep on hitting refresh until today's video comes up. You do not want to miss it.
Colin, I can up you on that one because you're saying you're born on Halloween. But I'll tell you this, I was born on April Fool's Day.
Oh, really?
Yes, I am. April 1st.
That is
born on Christmas, and they've got the trifecta there.
Yeah. Stryker, was it Old Year's Night or New Year's Eve that you were born? No, it can't be.
No.
So
I'll hold that against you, Richard.
Oh, well, don't mind that. I can take it. I got thick skin. Colin, you're gonna be running out of material Every day a daily dose. You run out of pills sometimes. You got to go to the pharmacy. What are we going to do? We got to cut. How many ideas can we have to fill a year? Is it possible you can do it? Are you up to it?
Absolutely, you'd be surprised. I think there was one a couple of weeks ago. I honestly opened my eyes as to the fact that there is crypto, in terms of kind of the news and update side of things, there is crypto headlines happening every single day without fail. Even if you're perhaps not looking in the right place.
Absolutely right, boy.
It's constant. And people, I think, there's great little stories that sometimes just don't even make any sort of waves, and then you're finding them being like, how did people miss this? How did we miss this? So in terms of the kind of the news and the headlines, I don't think that we'll ever have a shortage of that. I think with the Apollo news, then we've had
That's what I mean.
With the kind of introducing the team members, with the breaking down kind of the site. I think now we've got kind of a lot of announcements kind of happening. They're in the works, things will be happening. I don't have any concerns at all. I think there will constantly be stuff for us to be delivering on a daily. Literally, I've no concerns about that at all. I think it'll continue to go from strength to strength.
All right. Well, you have about 20 team members that you can talk about. I'll add a few more team members to add more content for you if you like, extend it. But we'll see what we can do.
Well, we want to start. We
should do one about this live show if we haven't done one already.
Yeah, definitely.
You could talk about me for a show if you want. Have a 2-minute dose. I don't know if they're gonna like it. I think they'll turn the thing off. It got nothing to do with nothing. But anyways.
Oh, you never know. Maybe we'll get desperate.
Can you get us a front row seat to an extraction, Richard?
Oh man, I could do. You mean I put on my camera and watch me do my work?
Yeah, we could get
people are gonna throw up.
Kind of the OR edition.
Are you good with watching blood and a lot of bleeding? Because people get faintish. You see what I'm saying?
Draw the crowd. I have to say, it'll draw a crowd. They might not. They might pass out, but.
But while we're all on, I want to mention for our next show that we are going to have a coin giveaway. Yeah. So this is an advance notice. If you want to be eligible to win this coin, you got to be on the chat because we'll be putting out a quiz question. And Dean, our esteemed producer behind the scenes, is going to type in a question. First one answers gets the coin. Just want to put that out for all you people. We don't know yet. We don't know what date it's going to be yet. We're trying to, assemble some other guests, but it will happen very soon. Sorry, you guys can go ahead and chat. I just want to put that little plug in there about the coin.
I was just wondering does that mean I can enter if I'm on the chat? And
Absolutely, you can enter. They love to post a coin to Scotland with a lot of stamps on the package. No problem.
You really need to work on that Scottish accent. I mean, it's a work in progress, but let's practice it.
I try to do the best I can. I never been there in my life, but I give it a whirl.
You should go visit. It's a brilliant country.
It's probably I've never been across the Atlantic. I've been north and south. Never east. Emma, amazing. All my life, never east. So now I will.
Never a better time than now. Book a flight tomorrow.
Well, not necessarily tomorrow, but patients will get pissed. But what I will do is I will probably go somewhere in that part of the world because guess what? We're all going to have an Apollo success party in about a year or year and a half. Don't you think? That's going to be possible, right?
And we're better to have it than freezing Scotland.
Well, we got to time it for the warmest month of the year, if that even exists. Because I even hear that even in the warmest months, you get mist and cold off the sea. And everything. So I don't know. Yeah.
I know we here in Scotland, we use Celsius, but let me just use a quick calculator here. I'll find out. The hottest day we had this year was 69 Fahrenheit.
Oh,
really?
The warmest?
Yeah.
That's
warmest.
Crazy.
Our coldest doesn't even reach halfway there. Get this for highs and lows. 92, 86.
92.
80. You see my shirt? See what I'm wearing?
Yeah.
Midnight on my hog. Riding at 80 miles an hour on the highway. I'll feel great. Nothing. It's absolutely spectacular. You haven't been, Colin, you haven't been to Barbados yet? I mean, the UK is the #1 tourist in this island, and I'm surprised you haven't been here yet.
I haven't, no. I mean, in terms of places, if you're going to come to the UK, as you mentioned, you've not been across the Atlantic yet. If you're going to come over, then of course you go to London, you see the kind of the sights in London, but London's overrated. Scotland's much better. You know, there's much more to see in Scotland than there is in London.
Well, I hear a lot.
I've been to England, and I would love to be in Scotland next time.
Oh, make it happen.
But you got good beer, so I want to drink your beer.
Whiskey.
Oh, whiskey. Ah, the
Well, we do
whiskey.
have some good beers, but I mean, it's called Scotch for a reason.
I think I saw McAfee drinking some of that fine Scottish whiskey the other day.
Yeah, but the problem with the word Scotch is some people say you're Scotch and not Scottish, and that's like an insult to y'all. That's what I heard. Anyways.
A little bit, but it's fine. We're used to it. The thing is, I was in California in March this year, and the amount of people who thought I was Irish, and I also got someone who guessed I was South African.
Oh.
But on one of my shows, I wasn't sure if you're Irish or Scottish. I said, "Well, we'll find out soon." You might remember, but because what's it, Rory McIlroy, the golfer? He's Irish.
He's Irish,
right? He's Irish.
There's a little bit of tension there, I think, right?
It's do you know what's worse is when you're mistaken for English, because Scotland and England do not get on at all. So if you say, "Oh, is that guy English?" you'd be like,
"Oh, bro,
absolutely not. No way."
It's kind of like the Kiwis in New Zealand and the Aussies in Australia. The same thing goes on there. Yeah. And in Canada, we have a miniature version of Quebec versus the rest of Canada because they're the French Canadians. So I mean, it seems like to be everywhere in some fashion or form. I don't know about the U.S. You can speak to that, Striker. Was it Trump and the rest of the U.S.? No, I don't think so.
Yeah,
I shouldn't say that because I'm a Trump fan. So I mean, he's doing some amazing things. It's just too bad they watch the brainwashing CNN, and I'm sure you could throw BBC into that mix too.
Yeah, we get a little politically heated over here with as far as that goes. So the left and the right, that's where a lot of tension lies. So.
No, it's the right. It's the right and the loony bins. That's what it is.
So, well, talking of Trump, he's not very popular here because he has 2 golf courses in Scotland, and one of which was he decided to build right next to a very environmentally iffy spot of the northeast coast, and there were protests, there were people who to leave their land, and it did not go down very well. So in certain parts he's very popular because of the business he's brought to the country, especially with the golf courses. I mean, they're regarded as some of the best in the world, but in terms of the environmental impact, I don't think he's too well liked among some areas of the country.
Well, one day he'll come to your country, and like he does everywhere, he'll go, "Oh, Scotland, you're all great people, warm people, wonderful people."
So when he's done that multiple times, his mum is from Scotland.
Oh! Well, that makes sense actually, because that is part of his background for real. Yeah.
So she was actually drove past her. So this is where I was on holiday. I didn't go on holiday just to visit Trump's mum's house, no. But the island I was on is also where Trump's mother is from. So her family emigrated from Scotland to America when I think she was probably very, very young at the time. But yeah, Trump still has relatives on the island, and it's quite interesting to drive past and be like, "Oh yeah, Donald Trump's mum lived over there."
If the reason that's the reason the golf courses are there, because he's got relatives there, of course he's going to do that.
Yeah.
Did I see Atlas jumping on here? Is that Atlas? Are you jumping on? Or are you just watching? I saw him in here just a second ago.
He had a little issue with his mic, and he had a little voice. I know he's got a big voice, so I don't know what was going on with that. But he had his phone. That's right. He only had his cell phone.
Right.
He said the wife took the laptop. Yeah, I've heard that story before.
There he is.
Oh,
hey, Alice.
Good.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Of course we can.
Crypto man.
Okay. Man, I got a call from my wife. It turns out that I had to put my girl's Halloween costume in her backpack, which I didn't. So I had to rush to school.
Oh, okay. We understand that. That's understandable.
That's an emergency.
Yeah, but the sticker in the car works better, no?
Well, yes, it's excellent. We don't want your kid. we have to have your kids look scary. You have a responsibility here. So we understand that.
What's she dressing up as?
Good question. Sorry? What are they dressing up as?
Oh, she's a Wonder Woman.
Just or...
Did he get a lot of Kleenex to put in the upper part of the shirt to make like a Wonder Woman? She was very endowed. I mean, that way. So like, you have to do something like that.
Her mom made her costume, so it took a while.
Okay, cool.
Oh, that's cool. That's awesome.
The only thing we had to buy was the sword and the shield. The one that Scottish loves.
Atlas, tell us about your restaurant, because I hear nothing but amazing things. It's a really exquisite restaurant in New York. Tell us a little bit about it.
Actually, it has a long story. I told Stephen earlier. It has quite a story.
We got nothing but time. We got nothing but time here, my brother.
Okay.
It is quite a story.
It's about a Persian guy who left Iran, I think, early 1960s. He came to the States and worked at a restaurant as a dishwasher. Then, after a couple of years, he became a busboy. Then, he became a waiter eventually. You guys with me?
Yeah, we're still here. Yeah, there's a little cut. There was a split cut off. But go ahead. We're with you.
Yeah, okay. Then he met this girl, Valerie, who was a hostess, and he was a waiter at the restaurant. They fell in love and they got married. And she hit the lottery in Connecticut. It's about $6 million or so, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
So they opened their own restaurants. Hired this chef who was extremely talented, great food, and he did not have a great wine list. So his customer was asking him to bring some good wines, which he did not know anything about. Then he realized what's the potential, and he built his wine list. And since then, since I think 1992, it's a restaurant that where you go, you just wait a table at night, and you know the rest.
Huh.
Food is great. We have about 1,800 different wines.
Wow.
Yeah, he showed pictures of the wine cellar. I think it was like a big condominium. all of the basement.
His total wine cellar cost about $80 million, if I'm not mistaken.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Atlas, I understand you're giving away a screaming eagle to one of the people in the chat room.
Why not?
And for those of you, I confess, I didn't know either. I didn't know that Screaming Eagle was like the price of some people's mortgage payments. I never knew that. Did you know that, Striker? Colin?
I didn't know that.
Screaming Eagle. How much for a bottle of Screaming Eagle at dinner at your restaurant? Tell the folks.
It's about $4,000 to $8,000, depends on the vintage.
4,000 to 8,000 US, depending on the vintage. Oh, I hate to have a real new one. I would rather have. I don't want to have 2017. Oh, I have to spend 4,000 for that.
Richard, spend that money on the Apollo. You will have the whole vineyard within a few years.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. I will take no hostages, I promise. That blows me away. That blows me away. I think they might have bottles that expensive in Sandy Lane, which is the most exquisite hotel in Barbados, where Tiger Woods actually got married.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. That's where all the celebrities go. I think it's about 50,000 a night US for the penthouse over there, some ridiculous amount. But to them, it's a drop in the bucket to these people. One day we'll be those people.
Yeah, we'll be dining there for sure.
Yeah.
Well, if you can afford to fly over there, then great.
Well, there you go. Well, I predict now, Colin, I know you got a good stash of Apollo. You don't have to say nothing, but I know you do. So we're going to expect you to be making a reservation up in Sandy Lane in about a year and a half time.
Yeah, no, let's do that. Let's do it. In fact, let's make a reservation a year in advance right now.
Not a problem. They might look at me like I've been insane, but I'll try to do the best I can.
Looking forward to it.
So what are you up to for the rest? Are you working today, doing anything else, Colin, over there in Scotland, or are you just?
Yes, indeed. I'm actually doing some. Well, I'm working on some Apollo scripts at the moment, and I'm gonna try and. I also this is it's been a running joke in the videos for a while. I am desperately running out of shirts. I need to buy some new shirts because I've been reusing some of the same ones over and over. So need to invest.
They have a polo type of look to it, but I'll tell you what. No mind. Find the shirt. Just do a nice little shout out for the show. All we're asking is one little 2 seconds out of that 33-minute dose. We'd all be grateful for that.
Well, as I say, I reckon there will come a time where we do give this a shout out because, as you say, Striker's on here, I'm on here. You know, it's obviously a well-oiled machine. It's got the viewers. It's got people talking. So yeah, let's get it. Let's get a promo out there.
Definitely.
Yeah. I think one day we're going to have a theme. We're going to have you, Colin, and Tony from 100K come on as both of you as guests, because both of you are doing basically the exact same thing, just with a different approach.
And he's much less Scottish than I.
Much less Scottish. Much less Scottish.
I have to ask you guys, actually. I have to ask you guys something. Is the accent an obstacle, or is it clear enough?
Oh, you're actually brilliant compared to... So, like, you're off the charts clear. Not a problem.
Okay, good. That's good. Because, you know, obviously I hear from the people like Striker and Master Zomon, but they're never gonna say, "Hey, Colin, we can't understand what you're saying." So listen, it's from somebody else.
You don't sound like a Scot that had 2 bottles of whiskey and he's going. Because
if I was gonna speak like people from my hometown, I'd be like, all right, Richard, fitzy crack day you geared into town. Oh, I spoke to Robbie Brimner when he is a fine like loon. And I'd be like, oh, really? Oh, great. So yeah, you're right. I could be the extreme, but no, I'm not gonna do that anytime soon.
Look, I'm gonna let you know something that you don't know. In Barbados, they speak English, but really and truly, it's Barbados English. And there's some people that, honest to God, you could be sitting there for 10 minutes and you won't understand a word they said. And they swear it's English.
There's
so,
people in Scotland who I still don't understand myself, and I'm Scottish. So.
You see what I'm saying? Right. So I don't know. Yeah. And look, Striker, your accent's real cool. I mean, it's clear. I can see where Atlas gets his accent. He's a Greek man. He's got that Greek thing going on. Right, Atlas?
Well, he's away.
I think he's Persian, isn't he?
Oh, so he just came for like a little cameo. Yeah. Is he Persian? I thought he was Greek. Okay, I'm wrong. Just like Ireland, Scotland. Same mistake.
I could be wrong there.
Yeah, same mistake. Boy, I tell you.
Easy mistake.
Well, listen. Was that?
An easy mistake to make. You know, we're all the same.
Indeed. Well, Mr. Blockchain Braveheart, Daily Dose Man, I think we're going to say goodbye to you, and Mr. Striker, who does an outstanding job each and every day in the communities. Fantastic job. So unless you have any final words to say to our audience before we say adieu for our impromptu morning show.
I think one thing I'd say, if I can, would be sometimes there's been the impression that I'm just some sort of talking monkey who reads the scripts and doesn't actually believe what he's saying. But I would say, actually, no, I 100%, 110% believe in this, in what the guys at Apollo are doing. You know, they are the brains behind it. I mean, sure, I might be the person who reads who does the daily dose, but they are the ones who are actually kind of making this work. And yeah, it's not just words on the screen. You know, if I didn't believe in the project, I wouldn't be doing it. So that's one thing I'd like to kind of put on the record and say, I think this is, you know, it's not just me saying, yes, Apollo to the moon, yes, you know, hodl for dear life. You know, I actually do believe that. I think it's a great...
And you stayed for more than 3 minutes. I appreciate the fact you stayed for more than 3 minutes.
Yeah. And next time I'm coming on the show, we'll make sure we get the time zones right as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was an overdose of Colin Stone today. But we'll forgive you today on that, Colin.
Well, thank you for having me.
You're very, very welcome, and I'm
Good
glad
to
you're
see
still
you,
alive.
Colin.
And you didn't take the ship early because we would have been, getting the lifeguards. So exactly. And Stryker, any final words from you before we sign off?
Just always a pleasure to be on here, and it's an honor serving in our community. And I'm just excited for this this ride we're going to be embarking on. This quarter is going to be huge, and there's just so much to look forward to. So it's a pleasure to be here, and thanks everybody for watching, and thanks Colin for coming on the show.
No, thank you.
Yeah, man, that was a pleasant surprise. I love it.
And Atlas
Great,
too.
and we all love you.
Hey,
And
Richard,
yeah,
you got my name right. It's a Greek name, but I'm Turkish. You know that, right?
yeah, because I was a little confused with the Greek and the Turkish, but now I got it straight. And thank you, Atlas, for coming
Thank you
on.
for having me, guys.
Yes, and a happy Halloween to everyone. We got nothing but love and optimism for Apollo. I say adieu, and to the next show where we have our coin giveaway, we bid you good night.
Good night, guys.